On this episode of Lapeef, Let's Talk.
I was doing a lot of thinking around that, and I was like, well, trying to figure out what's the root of it, and it really had to do with how they were raised and who was raising them. That's where my thinking kind of went. So I think that's the blame, is just who raised the men. And but I will say that the new age mothers, they're ruthless. Like they are calling women hoes. Don't you talk to these hoes. Don't bring no chick in my house. Like, and it's more so for like protecting their sons from women that are out to use them or to trap them, in so many words. So I've been seeing some moms like kind of use that's their way of trying to teach them to protect themselves from women that are out to get them and doesn't necessarily have their best interest at heart, if that makes sense. So I think it's generational, depending on which generation you're speaking about.
So funny. No one's hype. We're having a conversation. That's
like we do every week.
Jeez Louise, JR.
What am I doing?
Hold on. I'm gonna be honest, because see, JR not gonna say it, and nobody else on this panel was not gonna say it. But I don't care. I'm gonna say exactly what I say. Mm-hmm. The only time that Courtney and Kay aligns is when Amira starts talking.
It's not an alliance.
Y'all don't even want to let me finish saying what I'm gonna say.
Okay, go ahead.
Y'all get so riled up at the very mention of her name, and I'm not sure.
No one does. You want it that way.
It's so obvious. It's not. I didn't want anything. I didn't ask the question. I didn't say nothing. Even the lead was sitting there laughing at the question, like he was laughing at your reactions.
We're having a conversation about feminism.
Okay, so let's have a conversation about the reality. Let's have a conversation about the reality of who you guys are. Y'all never came together. And as a matter of fact, y'all was at odds at the very beginning of this show about a lot of the different conversations. And the only time that y'all align, or the only time that y'all start teaming up as the Powerpuff Girls, is when Amira started talking. No. Let's be real. Let's be real.
So do you ladies not like Amira, or what's the dynamic here?
So Anton is putting on a show, and you're absolutely false.
I'm putting on the show.
Yeah, you absolutely are. So here's the thing.
Ray Charles could see this.
Hold on, sir, please. Me and Kay were
at odds. What I was saying, but it's cool.
Well, I'm answering the lead's question. Me and Kay was at odds because when she came on the show, she said some stuff about me on Facebook that I had a problem with, and I wanted to check it. Okay. That was it. And so, and I did. And we had a couple shows. This was when she first started.
It was in April.
So let's context matters.
Courtney's show was the first one I ever saw of the Lapeef show. So I thought she was another panelist.
I think we can have this. We can have this conversation later.
Well, no, he's asking. Anton is wanting to say.
Anton is trying to get a narrative going.
No, I'm telling the truth. And you know the thing. Nope. It ain't. Okay, now it's a narrative. The thing about it is that it's always a narrative, or it's always swept under the rug. But we can see we can see this hidden agenda. We can see all of the.
What's the agenda? Okay, no. Don't worry about the agenda.
Oh, now y'all want to answer me that one.
Well, no, we can talk about it, but I want
the agenda. The agenda is for y'all to eventually neg. And when I say neg, we used to say that in the industry where somebody would work somewhere and we didn't like them, but we wanted them to quit. And so they stay on you, and they get on you, and they get on you enough.
Like you do the Kay? Like you do the Kay? How you make fun of her every single show? So no. And let me finish.
Well, no, see, it's a difference. Well, no, let me tell you what the difference is. Let me tell you what the difference is that if I didn't want Kay here, she wouldn't be here. I have the power to do that.
I thought JR wanted to show.
No. Let's be clear. If I want Kay off, she wouldn't be here. So it has nothing to do with me not wanting Kay here. Let's be clear. This is the difference. You guys don't have the power to remove Amira, but you don't want her here.
No one cares.
every time
we're getting off topic, y'all. We're getting off topic, y'all. Hey, we're getting off topic. Hey.
Anton is
now you don't want me to talk. Now you don't want me to talk.
No. Hold on.
Look at Lauren.
hands. Let me suck them titties, baby. Let me suck them titties, baby.
It's me dancing to this record. I'm gonna need you not.
Okay. No, wait, no.
Hold on.
Y'all gotta stop.
Hold on, man. We can say this for after hours. Hey. Y'all need to be quiet. We got a show to do. We have a show to do. Let's go. Let's move it on. You guys just tuning in. Welcome to Lapeef. Let's talk. We got after hours too, right? So we can talk about after hours.
No, because everybody's not gonna be on the after hours.
Okay. Well, we'll see. Welcome to Lapeef. Let's talk. You guys just tuning in. Get them likes up. This is not scripted. This is a real show. Real time. The greatest show ever. We'll move on to our last and final topics before we open it up to the phone lines, which is, as men, we are taught how to treat women when we are younger, right? But not how to protect ourselves from women. Let's talk about that. I want to get you guys' thoughts about it. Read that question again. As men, we are taught how to treat women, but not how to protect ourselves from women. Start with you, Rella.
I knew this was coming. I think I think by default, man, like one of the things that I think about as I look at the question is that we look at women as the weaker vessel. So we wouldn't typically, you wouldn't think that you need protection from a woman per se. And it's even like, I'm not trying to pile on, but even the interaction earlier with Anton and Kay, my inclination is to step in and say, yo, Anton, chill, right? Because we always look to the man, right? To be the bigger person or to stand down or to fall back or whatever. But to his point also, you have these situations, especially in DV cases where men are on the receiving end of, physical altercations or whatever, right? And a lot of times they just sit there and take it. Why? Because you don't expect, as a man, to be in a situation where you have to protect yourself or defend yourself from a woman. And that goes from physical altercations to conversations to even when you find yourself, most gentlemen or some gentlemen find themselves in, situations like family court. You're not thinking that you have to defend or protect yourself from a woman because typically we look at them as, the weaker vessel. Okay, I see you making faces. Feel like I lost you.
No, didn't.
Okay.
Lauren, as men, we are taught how to treat women, but not how to protect ourselves from women. What are your thoughts about it?
It's a true statement. Unfortunately, I think what contributes to that is depending on the generation you grew up in. Most men were raised by their mothers, grandmothers, meemaws, whatever, right? And so they basically, hold your emotions in, well, no, let me go back. They're raised by them and they tell you how to treat women, right? This is how you treat your mama. This is how you treat whomever, blah, 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 blah. But in the same breath, they're actually abusing men in a sense. They're not allowing them to be emotional. They're forcing them to kind of really step into like a manly man role at 13, 12, like just really step up to the plate super early. So if they were preaching, this is how you treat women and this is how you protect yourself from women, they would essentially be, preaching the narrative of like, protect yourselves from people like me, like your mom or your grandma. So I think it's like, they couldn't do both because they were the ones, and I'm using abusing, and that's kind of a strong word, but they were the ones basically pushing men into just, resorting to not being able to be themselves. And yeah, so I was doing a lot of thinking around that, and I was like, well, trying to figure out what's the root of it. And it really had to do with how they were raised and who was raising them. That's where my thinking kind of went. So I think that's the blame, is just who raised the men. And but I will say that the new age mothers, they're ruthless. Like they are calling women hoes. Don't you talk to these hoes. Don't bring no chick in my house. Like, and it's more so for like protecting their sons from women that are out to use them or to trap them in so many words. So I've been seeing some moms like kind of use that that's their way of trying to teach them to protect themselves from women that are out to get them and doesn't necessarily have their best interest at heart, if that makes sense. So I think it's generational, depending on which generation you're speaking about.